What is going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. Welcome to your Week 13 kickoff show. Hope everyone had a very happy and healthy Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving weekend. I'm one half of your host today, Dylan Davis. To my right, my faithful co-host, Scotty. Guys, first and foremost, the same way we start each and every one of our shows. If you are new to the channel, if you're watching on Twitter, do us a favor. Make sure to follow us on all social media platforms, specifically the Twitter page. It's where we're most interactive across all platforms. And then check out the link tree. It's in our bio. It will take you to every other social media page we're on. Make sure to tap into the YouTube channel specifically. It is the best and only spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up here on the screen with us. We got a lot to talk about, man. It was rivalry weekend in college football yesterday. I think there were more brawls than actual good college football games played yesterday, Scotty. We had a very interesting Thursday slate that we're going to talk about. So a big sports weekend followed by an even bigger sports day here in the South Jersey and Philadelphia area. If you're an Eagles fan, Eagles-Ravens play at 4:25 today, potential Super Bowl preview. We're going to be breaking that down in about an hour on the DSM Philly YouTube channel on Pregame Live. So make sure to tap in, subscribe everywhere. We got a lot to discuss. We're going to give you guys a full slate breakdown today. Take a look back on the Thursday's games, and then we'll move on to the Eagles-Ravens. But my man, happy Sunday and welcome to Week 13.
Yes, sir. Happy Sunday. We already got a couple games into Week 13, but nonetheless, we get a nice full slate today. Start off hot at the 1 p.m. slate, man. A lot of tight spreads in the early slate there at 1 p.m. And then, of course, you get into what has to be everybody's game of the week. I mean, it's the Ravens, the Eagles. Unless you're sleeping on the Eagles still somehow. This is easily the most entertaining game of the season in reality, when you look at matchups and the way everything looks. So exciting weekend nonetheless, man. Hope Thanksgiving was good. Hope the holidays are going good. Hope you got some decent food in there over the last couple of days, man. But happy Sunday, man. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. Yeah. It's a huge day. You said it before the show. It's hard to not overlook everything with the Eagles and Ravens playing later today, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna get it done and get through this slate and give our thoughts, man. But
I mean, Sunday Night Football is looking to be crazy tonight up in
That's
New York
fair.
in Buffalo.
Yeah.
I mean,
San Fran needs one.
They're paying their citizens $20 an hour and free food and drinks to come help shovel the field and shovel the stadium because of how much snow they're getting. So you have the Niners, you have the Bills. I believe Brock Purdy is on pace to play. I haven't really seen leading up to this.
I hope he does.
Right. Weirdly. If he doesn't, I mean, the game's going to be a nothing burger. If he does, maybe Nick Bosa plays. Even though the Niners are sitting at 5-6, they're still a solid football team. And it'll make the game a lot more entertaining up in New York. Like you mentioned, we had the Eagles, Ravens. We're not going to talk about that. But before we get into the matchups today, man, the 1 p.m. slate, our best bets, anything like that, we have to talk about Thursday and what took place. Unless you live under a rock, you missed the wildest, I guess, highly entertaining, most ridiculous, asinine, stupid, moronic, idiotic finish to a professional football game, professional sporting event I have ever seen in my life. And it has, I guess, finally, if you're a Bears fan, cost Matt Eberflus his job. He's canned Friday morning, no longer the head coach of the Chicago Bears. I think a lot of people were waiting for that domino to fall there in Chicago. But nonetheless, again, halftime, I believe 16-0 Detroit rolling. It's not a ball game. I think in the first half, the Bears had one first down. If they got one, I mean, it was a complete and utter disaster. Second half, man, third quarter, things change. Fourth quarter, things change. Caleb Williams hooking up with Keenan Allen twice. They actually look like a competent football team. Caleb Williams, 3 touchdown passes over 250 yards. Looks good. Leading a game-tying or winning drive in the final 2 minutes, Scotty, down 23-20, takes a sack, possibly pushes them out of field goal range. It was close. It was right around the 40-yard line. He takes a sack with 32 seconds left when he hits the ground.
Yeah.
The Bears have a timeout.
Yeah.
They ran one more play and left the game with that timeout. Caleb Williams. So if we want to talk blame game, let's talk about it. Caleb Williams, What on God's green earth are you doing? Like, I know you're a rookie, dog. I don't play football. I didn't play Division I football. I don't play in the NFL. I'm sitting at home on my couch. I know even before the snap what moment you're in. When people around are like, man, you can't take that sack. You got to go. And you just get up and start pointing here and pointing there and taking your time and doing whatever. So Caleb Williams, no idea what the rookie was doing in this moment, Scotty. But
yeah.
Matt Eberflus.
Yeah.
The moment you see your rookie quarterback not grasping or understanding what's going on right now, once that clock hits like 15 seconds, 12 seconds at max, you have to run down the sideline and go, yo, timeout. Stop the clock, bring his ass over in the huddle, and then give the play. Look, you got 6 seconds to get this ball out to the boundary, whatever the case is. But Caleb Williams, the franchise quarterback, doesn't understand the moment, and then the head coach just stands there and does absolutely nothing. As, dude, his own teammates were on the sideline jumping up and down like, go! What are you doing? Snap the ball. Go! They end the game. He throws an incompletion. That's it. The worst ending ever. And then Matt Eberflus doubles down after the game, Scotty, and says he felt like they played everything the right way.
Do you think that's what got him fired? Do you think the actions got him fired or the words? What do you think? Or was it just a combination of both?
I mean, I would like to think it's a combination of both, right? Because even if he comes out Thursday afternoon after the game and says, that's on me, I take full responsibility, we got to be better, blah, blah, blah. With everything that's been going on in Chicago, and then you reach that boiling point, you would think he'd still have to be canned. But the fact that he fucking doubled down, I mean, dude, the balls that takes. You were on since Thanksgiving. You were on national television playing the best team in the NFC right now, a division rival. And that's how you end it. Scotty, it was by far the dumbest way I've ever seen a professional or collegiate or any sporting event in my lifetime. It is the most moronic ending I've ever witnessed.
And I think the worst part about it, but maybe it's the best part for Bears fans because you finally get rid of Eberflus. Who knows, what it was going to take to get that done. Maybe this had to happen.
Right.
But it's like part
of Caleb's plan.
Right. This loss is like the epitome of their season, man. Like between that, the slide started in that Commanders game, man. That Hail Mary tip pass where once again you don't really manage the end of the game really well as a coach, as a defensive coach.
He stood on that decision to give up that first play to give up 10, 15 yards.
So you lose that game on the last second Hail Mary. Then you go out. The next couple weeks, right, you lose to the Cardinals. It looks incompetent. That destroyed them at that point for 2 weeks. Then you get to division rivals.
Yeah,
Packers, you lose by 1. Blocked field goal, like you said. You get to the Vikings. You lose by 3, right? Something at the end of that game. I can't remember what that was, but something happened. It was in overtime. You lose in overtime against the Vikings, actually. And then this latest one against the Lions, man. It's the epitome of their season. Yep. So if I felt that Caleb Williams got the proper coaching from like the start of the season, then I would probably hold him a little bit more accountable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, in these situations. But the way this season has looked, it's like he's not even being taught in these moments that that's wrong. Because Eberflus comes out of that game and says that that's the way that he thought it should have went. It's just unlucky. Like, that's what he's getting coached to. So he might think that was the right way of thought, right? But obviously it's not, man.
He had the missed slant to Moore that he threw like at his ankles. And then I think the very next play, he got to Keenan Allen, I believe, and they picked up like 15. He got out of bounds, gets brought back for holding.
Yeah.
Next place, the sack, and then that's where we spiral. But like, man,
can't take the sack either.
I was honestly thinking about coming into the show and just setting a timer and us sitting here for 32 seconds and just seeing quite how long that actually is, Scotty. Dude, we're sitting there like family doesn't really care about it. It's the Bears, it's the Lions, and we're just sitting here watching the end of this game. Like, we're hoping for a comeback as an Eagles fan. We're hoping that the Lions lose, right?
Yeah.
So we're sitting there and like, it goes from 32. He gets up to the line of scrimmage. Now it's at 25. All right, not too big. Now it's at 20. Okay, yo, you want to go? Now it's at 15.
Should we call
Everyone,
it timeout?
what are you doing? Now it's at 10.
Yeah.
And then it hits like, bro,
Yeah.
they are ending the game right here.
And so, like, at that point, once it gets to 10, it's like, we can't call the timeout here, right?
Yeah.
Like, we may as well just run it at that point. I don't know.
Because here's the thing, man. I know on TV where they had like Santos's line for like in field goal range, that red line.
Yeah.
That seems like, I know he struggled a little bit. They were right around the 40. I mean, you're talking like a 57, 58 yarder. Now that's it's no chip shot. I know that.
But with momentum,
you're in range. It's not like you got a 67 yarder to end the game and you don't want whatever. Like, if you call the time, if you realize what Caleb's doing, maybe you even as the head coach call a timeout with 5 seconds left and go, get off the field. We're attempting this game time field goal. Like, you just let him throw a ball over someone's head to end the game.
Yeah, he stood there like we did and didn't make any decisions to help his team in a situation where the head coach absolutely should. So yeah, I think as a person with, you know, Bears fans in my family, like my in-laws are heavy Bears fans.
Right, dude.
It's a blessing in disguise. Maybe not even in disguise, dude. Like, honestly, now that Eberflus is out of there, I think now you can like salvage Caleb Williams' rookie year, even, right? Like, I don't know what they have in house though. That's the other problem. Like, the rest of this season is obviously cooked, but you do want to have those learning lessons on the season for Caleb as a rookie. Yeah. But going forward, you have to bring in like an offensive mastermind, you know, like a Ben Johnson, right? Like,
dude, you either need you either need one of those genius level play callers, or you need like a former quarterback whisperer. Like, maybe he's not the play caller, but he's the guy that can
like Harbaugh in LA.
Yeah.
Right, with Herbert right now. Yeah. So it is interesting.
But that organization is so bad, man, because I was trying to find it. I'm not going it real quick, but this is the third straight time that the Bears have selected their franchise quarterback over their last 3 head coaches and fired that head coach in the same year. So Eberflus fired the year Caleb was drafted. The year Justin Fields was drafted, they fired Nagy. And then before that, whoever the quarterback was before that, they fired that head coach the same year that rookie quarterback was drafted in the first round. So
it's toxic.
They are a dysfunctional, toxic.
Do you even
right now, man,
want to step into that position?
I know. Yeah,
you know, Ben Johnson last offseason's looking for like the perfect opportunity. That's why he stayed as offensive coordinator for the Lions. He does not want to step into a position where his career could ultimately be sunk.
Right.
So do the Bears look like a promising They have weapons on offense.
What happens when Ben Johnson takes a job in Chicago, let's say in the offseason, and it looks pretty similar, maybe a little bit better, but pretty similar to what's going on right now. And maybe a lot of it's on Caleb Williams' shoulders, but they don't want to admit that because everything they gave up to go get Caleb Williams, he's got to work out. He's got to be the guy. And then Ben Johnson gets canned. Where's your career go from there? Because this was the peak. And now, you know, if you can't make it work there with Caleb Williams and DJ, whatever the case may be, maybe other organizations start looking around and going, like it even makes you think of Kellen Moore, man. Like he hasn't taken the head coaching job, but Kellen Moore, when he was in Dallas and they were getting all those yards, scoring all those points, he was the Ben Johnson a couple years ago. He was the guy, and he never got that next moment. Maybe because of the issues Dallas had, and in big moments and in playoffs, etc. But speaking of the Cowboys, to kind of tie that in here, let's get to their game.
Are they back, man? Should we be worried?
That's what I just wanted to say. Since we're talking like delusion, and we're talking like just how that first game ended, this dude, he can't stop himself. I don't have anything to say about the football game itself.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think back to Thanksgiving Day. I don't know that I watched more than 3 minutes of this entire game. I did not care. Okay, dude, this dude is so fucking delusional. Dude, like does someone step in? I mean, the whole franchise is delusional. So there's probably not a strong-minded person in that building that can go, yo. Like you have to cut this shit out.
Like,
to hop on Fox after this game and tell the world that you're back and all that shit that was talked, and we're coming. And see, I mean, man, like, how delusional is this dude?
After a win over the Giants, dog.
I don't think I could bear having him on my team. And we're talking about Micah fucking Parsons. We're talking about the top 3 defensive player in the National Football League.
Can't read a room.
I don't know that I could accept him here because he would make me want to rip my hair out every time he speaks.
Yeah. In a season like this, man, is that what you want to hear? Like right now, like you're back after a Thanksgiving win against Drew Lock and the Giants.
Over Drew Lock.
It shows me where their measuring stick is, where their expectations are in-house. Like that's what it shows me ultimately. Because there's no way you come out of that and just think like, oh, we're back. Like we're coming. Cooper Rush, dog. Like
arm in arm with him, like, yeah, here we come.
CeeDee Lamb dropped like 3 passes in a row in like the second quarter, dog, then goes out with an injury. All right, yeah, sure, man. And the reason I know that because CeeDee Lamb that was like the only thing I laid that day. I needed CeeDee Lamb over 40 yards with something else I laid. And he gets 39 in the second quarter and then drops like 3 passes the rest of the game and doesn't get another catch, man. But yeah, the Cowboys, they're funny. It's going to be interesting to see how their season finishes out. I will say, man, the way it's lined up for them, I wanted to take a look and maybe try to see what Mike is seeing here. They got the Bengals in Dallas. Bengals. It should be a loss. It absolutely should be a loss. I do agree. You got the Panthers in Carolina. They can lose that game. Like, let's be real.
I'll give them a win.
They should win, but they can lose. Then they finish out Bucks in Dallas. So we'll see. Mike Evans is back. Then they come to Philly, obviously. And then they finish their season in Dallas against the Commanders.
Right, and you beat Washington in that crazy fashion last time.
So, feels like a loss?
Feels like one.
Feels like a loss for them.
I mean, I'll tell you this. This is where the Dallas Cowboys actually are on the totem pole. The only game you should win or could win on paper is the Carolina Panthers. That's how sad things are for you right now.
Yeah.
You're not going to be favored over Washington. You're not going to be favored over the Bucks. You're not going to be favored over Cincy. And these are all home games, mind you. Like you're just not going to be. Then you're coming.
They haven't played well at home either.
I'm assuming second to last week. That game's going to matter for us if we're fighting for the 1 seed. So you're getting Eagle starters late in this. Yeah, it just.
Plus, we can sweep them. We haven't swept them in so long, man.
Something you and I talked about in the summer, and it hasn't exactly played out. Like we're not going to play Dak Prescott. Like I get it, but again, Micah, if you're ever going to see this, you lost your even when you had your quarterback, you guys fucking sucked.
It wasn't good.
Your own quarterback said, "Damn, we fucking suck."
That is a classic.
And then you grabbed the microphone and started talking about the NFC playoff picture and was like, "Well, who else is surprised that the Cowboys aren't in this picture? We lost our quarterback, dude." Give me a rest. All right, last game of the Thanksgiving slate. If the Miami Dolphins are okay with playing in cold weather, and it's just like this story that people like have made up in their minds, they're pretty damn bad at proving it wrong, Scotty. I know I mean, dude, 2 of 365, 2 touchdowns, no turnover. I know what the numbers suggest. The game was never close.
Yeah.
If it is just a theory, if they are actually fine with playing in cold weather, they are horrifying at disproving that theory. Because every time the task comes up, they look like that.
Yeah. Soft.
Yeah.
It's the only way you can describe it. It's soft. Like you said, he has the air attack going, 365, almost 400 passing yards in this game, and they score 17 points. They couldn't run the football.
Brother, they ran the ball 12 times and averaged under 3 yards per carry.
3
that
yards
is the definition of soft, Scotty, and that is why that team, that coach, that quarterback will never win anything in the NFC. What I know, what they did is technically it's the flashy stuff. It's what people want to do. Scotty, what's the key? In January, What do you like to
Running
do
the football.
offensively?
Running the football in defense.
They're soft. They can't run the ball. They can't. Outside of gadget plays that feed and build off of their air attack, they cannot run the football. They cannot line up on the center, turn around, and give Devon Achane or Raheem Mostert the ball and pick up chunk yardage. They cannot do it. So their head coach loves to fall in love with the big plays and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, etc. And all it does is get you beat by double digits in Lambeau Field.
Yeah. Even their defense, right, that has the good metrics this year. They've been a really good unit this season, right? A little bit of the Miami Dolphins turnaround the last couple games has been that defense and the way they've been able to play. Even on defense, they get bullied, man. Like, I know Jordan Love had 275, 2 touchdowns. They only had, 114 rushing yards on 25 attempts, 4.5 yards per carry. So it doesn't
and Josh Jacobs got stuffed in this game.
Right. Several times in the red zone. And so then I look to the receiving, man, and that kind of tells a story to me as well. You look at Tucker Kraft, he's the leading receiver. That's a tight end. He's catching screens, he's catching short passes, he's breaking tackles after, he's getting first downs on tough pickups. Next receiver is Josh Jacobs, the running back. What's he doing? He's catching short passes, he's catching screens. I think he had one big screen that went for close to 50 yards, something like that. These are the things that we're talking about with the Miami Dolphins, offensively and defensively. You can have all the big plays in the world. You can get after the quarterback, but you have to be able to tackle, man. And I think that's something that we kind of experienced last year with the Eagles was, as they started to fall apart, we saw how important the ability to tackle and get the guy on the ground on the first attempt, how important that is. And it's something that the Dolphins heavily struggle with. And I bring up the Eagles because of the disrespect that some of the Dolphins players threw at Vic Fangio, basically blaming him for that soft, weak identity that they possess.
Right. Yeah,
like,
how's that working out? How's that working out?
Exactly. You see what the Eagles operate on. So, yeah, I don't think that was Vic Fangio's fault down there, man.
No, I think Vic's defense has been – Scotty, correct me if I'm wrong. I think his newly led defense is like playing at a top 3 level in the National Football League. They don't seem to have a tackling problem. We had a tackling problem.
We did have one
before Vic Fangio. Fangio came in, got some younger players. We don't really miss too many tackles since the beginning of the year. The Dolphins, though, they still continue to miss tackles and give up 30-plus points and play as soft as ever. So the Miami Dolphins, I'll never take them seriously, man. Between that head coach.
I was going to ask that. Mike McDaniel, where do you go with it? Like, is he a good coach? Like, he's not, right? Like,
I think he could be. He's
a good coordinator.
In a sense, yes. But, dude, that's inexcusable. Like, 46 passes to, 11 runs. That is
in the freezing cold.
In the freezing cold.
Yeah.
That's the point, Scotty. He doesn't alter anything. We talked about it when Tua went out. He didn't change anything in his offense, no matter who was playing quarterback for him, not understanding or realizing or wanting to admit that not everyone can run your scheme or run that system effectively.
Yeah.
He changed nothing. You go and play in Lambeau Field in almost below freezing weather when you're from Miami. Tua and you are winless in whatever temperature weather. There's all these rumors going around, and you throw the ball damn near 50 fucking times. Now, look, this game was never close. They lost by 13. So, yeah, they had to throw the ball. They were playing from behind. Brother, you weren't down by 30.
Right.
I mean, you still could have tried to run the football at times throughout this game, and you just ultimately decided not to. So, I'm not a Mike McDaniel guy. I think he's very, very corny. I don't know if you've seen some of the clips of see the clip 2 or 3 weeks ago when they're trying to draw Max Crosby. They changed the play name. They were acting like they were going to run a play and didn't. And he's telling Tua we're not going to run a play. And I think they say Max or Max Crosby or something. And he jumps and McDaniel's cracking up. He's like, Max, we weren't going to run a play. Oh, you nerd, dude. You're such a nerd. And I don't like him. I don't think Tua will ever play in a championship game, a Super Bowl, anything like that. I don't think you're going to win with that style. I don't think their defense is good enough. None of it. I don't think the Miami Dolphins will be real as long as those two are the cornerstones there.
It's a very surface level team, I feel, right? Like they're just not it, man.
No.
They just don't have
it.
Agree. Yeah.
I agree. Let's get into today's slate, man. You and I were talking about this before
the
show.
Let's skip that Chiefs.
Oh, I was looking at Thursday. Completely forgot there was Black Friday football.
Yeah, man. We don't have to spend too much time on it, but
dude, are they like? I don't
what
the
fuck?
Like, I put in the description jokingly, a little sarcastically. Are the Chiefs bad? I mean, they're not. They're never going to be bad,
right?
Is there a world where the Chiefs go into a divisional round, any matchup in the AFC potentially, especially when you get into the divisional round, possibly AFC Championship? Is there a world where they get their fucking teeth kicked in the playoffs? Because, man, we're not just talking about finding ways to win at Arrowhead against Joe Burrow. We're not just talking about finding ways to win again. Dude, you have now squeaked after losing to the Bills, getting your first loss of the season, your only loss of the season. You have just squeaked by the Las Vegas Raiders and the Carolina Panthers in back-to-back weeks. And especially with the things that took place in this Raiders game, it makes you question. Part of me agrees 1,000% with Martian. Like, I think we've learned you just don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. Don't be that idiot that bets against Patrick Mahomes. But, man, this does not look – Travis – I mean, I don't know what to do with this team. They have one loss, Scotty.
I know.
But it's like so each weird. Week gets uglier and uglier. And to be honest, who have they beaten this year?
Since the Ravens.
Since the Ravens in week 1, when you won by a toenail. Like, we all like joke around like they had like they're the luckiest team in the NFL. I'm not saying they don't have good. Like you won in the Chargers. They obviously have 7 wins.
Good win.
The Falcons,
49ers and San Fran. No CMC in that game though. To be clear,
I mean, we're talking about they beat the Bengals by 1 point. We know that Bengals team by playing them. You've beaten the Raiders now twice. You beat the Panthers. You beat the Broncos by 2.
Yeah.
You beat the Bucks with no Mike Evans or Chris Scott. Like
if we're being honest, man, it feels like they should have lost the last 4 games. Like maybe outside of Carolina. Like I know that game is still close. It comes down to a last second drive. You just can't leave that much time for Patrick Mahomes. That was like a normal game, even though the Panthers just shouldn't be that close.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the Chiefs should have lost that game. This game on Friday, not saying they should have lost. But the end of the game sequence is just puzzling, to say it in the best way. It's puzzling.
The referee was running in, blowing the play dead before the fumble. He was like he was like waving it off. If there wasn't a fumble, the play would not have counted, and they would have called it a false start.
Right.
The Chiefs recover, and they're like, "Whoa, hold on."
They took really long on the call too, and I just knew something was up, bro. Like
that shit just can't happen. I also saw the clip of a Chiefs offensive lineman spearing somebody in the back, spearing him like he's fucking in the WWE from behind, and nothing. It does get a little ridiculous. But with that said, the only thing that keeps going on in the back of my mind, man, is Patrick has 3 already. They're on the repeat. They're going for the 3-peat. They're going to be in position for a 1 seed. How much of what's happening right now in the regular season is just like they don't care? Like, not that they don't care, but there's going to be
I know what you mean.
A gear that gets shifted come
January. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Because this is just playtime. Like, this is recess to them right now. And then when we hit January and the Bills have to come to Arrowhead or Lamar has to come to Arrowhead, you're going to see Travis Kelce go for 120, and you're going to see Patrick Mahomes not throw an interception throughout the postseason, and you're going to see all these different things that you haven't seen in the regular system. You're going to be like, wow, they're just Jekyll and Hyde.
I think they deserve the benefit of the doubt to believe that,
Right.
I think they deserve that. Compared to the Eagles last year, 10-1 fall from down to hell, like the depths of hell for the Philadelphia Eagles last year. I think they deserve the benefit of the doubt to not believe that they would do that, right, with the pedigree that they have in-house with Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, so on and so forth. But I do think there's two options here. It is that, right? They can get into the next gear. They're going to turn it up a notch in the postseason. They play to their competition. That's what we're kind of talking about right there. They play down to the Panthers. They play down to the Broncos, down to the Raiders, so on and so forth. Or they could just be complete frauds. They could have let people walk out the door that shouldn't have walked out the door, potentially. And this is maybe just who they are. And we're just getting a little bit of a precursor. And maybe they just got really fucking lucky over the course of the season with some of the ways these games played out. But no, I do agree. I think they deserve the benefit of the doubt. I did want to ask you something. Go ahead and say what you wanted to say. I do have a question for you.
Especially because since no one can bury them, no one can put them away besides the Bills, they're still in position to get the fucking 1 seed. That means a bye. That means you having to go there again with that. Like, that's man, if they had to go to Buffalo, maybe we're talking about something different. If Josh Allen has to come there in the AFC Championship game or I don't know. The last thing I would say about them, man, before you get to your point is I'm at the point with the Chiefs where I'm not dumb enough to bet against Patrick Mahomes, but I will not be betting on the Chiefs until I see it in the postseason. Yeah. So, like, let's say they play in the divisional round. I will not be placing a dime on that game until, so either we're going to be right in a sense and maybe the Ravens beat them or the Bills beat them or whatever, and it is a different Chiefs team this year compared to their winning ways, or I don't bet it. They move on to the AFC Championship game, and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce look unbelievable, and then I go, there it is, and now we can figure out what to do with them.
Like for example, if the Chiefs, and this is the other question that I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
How many games will they lose by the end of the season? Will they lose one more game, two more games? I do have their schedule pulled up here, but I'm looking at the standings right now in the conference. If they were to lose one more game this season and the Bills went out, maybe it doesn't happen, maybe it does, right? The Bills play the 49ers tonight. Basically, the Chiefs would fall to that 2 seed. They would play the Broncos in the first round as of right now in Kansas City. And it's like, to your point, man, it's like, yes, like if they come out and they're 3-point favorites against the Broncos, it's going to be really fucking hard to not take the Chiefs in the postseason against the Broncos. But to say that a division rival game isn't going to be a little fucking weird in the postseason when you have a gamer like Bo Nix, man, like, I don't know, it just feels sketchy. I'm not saying the Broncos are going to go into Kansas City and beat the Chiefs, but they are a weird enough matchup that they could make it a little sketchy. And that's ultimately how I feel about the Chiefs as a whole. Like, if they play, Pittsburgh?
That's what I'm saying.
In Kansas City. Pittsburgh. What does that look like?
Baltimore. The only thing we have, here's where I'm at with them.
Yeah.
This season, almost means nothing to me. So what I'm basing it off this season, any of those teams should and would beat the Chiefs. The thing that we have to go off of is the history. Well, the Ravens playing the way they are, even at 8 with 4 losses compared to the Chiefs 1, you would think the Ravens will beat this year's Chiefs team. But am I going to bet that on Lamar Jackson going into Arrowhead in the divisional round or the AFC Championship and beating Patrick Mahomes?
That defense?
No, I can't do that. I won't do that. The Steelers, part of me with that defense and the way we've seen Russ operate at times, yes. Then I watch what they do to the Browns. Am I betting on that team to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs? No, I can't, man. I will say this. Even Josh Allen and the Bills, they got him in the regular season. Congratulations.
Yeah.
If they have to go to Arrowhead, what Josh Allen, are we getting MVP Josh Allen from this year? Or does the moment catch up? Does he try to do too much? Are there a couple whatever? I don't know. So They piss as much as we differ in the fact that I've said I don't mind the Chiefs in the past. I like watching greatness. I think Patrick Mahomes is greatness, whatever. It's getting very frustrating, man. Because if they were just simple, if they were 11-1, but still the Chiefs, it'd be very simple to just be like, man, they are so annoying because they're too damn good. They're like a cheat code. The issue is they're 11-1 and they look like fucking ass week to week.
Yeah.
And I don't know what or who they are this year.
I was trying to find out exactly how many games in a row the Bills have beat the Chiefs in the regular season, because I did see that whenever they played. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I guess. Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago because the Chiefs played the Panthers last week. When they played, I believe the stat and don't hold. Check this out. Go fact check me if you guys need to. I believe going into that game, the Bills had won the last 2 regular season meetings or the last 3.
I think you're right. I think it's at least 2. I remember like a high score.
So it doesn't matter.
No, it means fucking nothing.
It does not matter. Yeah. So I do get Martian's point here. That are they the only team that's capable of beating the Chiefs?
No,
I don't think I feel that way. It would probably go Bills, Steelers, Ravens for me. Wow. And I don't know if that's weird or not, man. Wow. The Ravens defense, we'll see what they're on today. Obviously, they're going against the Eagles. It's a sturdy offense. We'll get to see a nice test for them, but they have gotten picked apart, man. And my worry against the Ravens ultimately is you get into a tight game, end of game situation. Are you going to be able to stop Patrick Mahomes? And I don't know that they will be able to. But I guess that's a question against every single opponent, right? Because it's going to be a close game. You know that the Chiefs aren't going to get like blown out. Their defense is too good for that. Are you going to be able to stop Patrick Mahomes for just one drive in the fourth quarter? I don't know. It's the question mark for everyone, I guess. So.
I mean, look, there's been one team that's done it since he's arrived. The issue for that team is that they had the GOAT leading the way. And that's the only team that has stopped them in the biggest matchup at this point in time. We had a 10-point lead.
Didn't matter.
In the second half, it ultimately...
Didn't we have 2 10-point leads in that game?
We may have.
Didn't it get to 10 twice?
We may have. I just know in the third quarter we were up 10, and then that quickly disappeared, and we went down 8. And then we came back and tied it, and then we went down 3. So that's kind of how that works, man.
Do you think, like, is it obvious that this Chiefs team is like the worst of their like championship teams?
1,000%.
Obvious.
1,000%. Because a few reasons,
crazy
right?
At 11-1.
A few reasons. In the beginning, you had Tyreek Hill. And then even when he left, your tight end was by far maybe the best pass catcher route. Like that guy was just there all the time. Yeah. I know you went out and you got D-Hop. I know that tight end maybe is just saving it for the postseason. I don't know. Yeah. They don't have that safety valve that they can go to. That's just going to be like, I remember playing Kelsey in that Super Bowl, dude, and going every third down. I felt like we didn't get off the field, but it's like you knew it in your gut. He's going to get open. Yeah. I don't think they have that. They also don't have the rushing. It's like I know Kareem Hunt has had a couple games where he's gone for 109, 105. With Pacheco down, he might be coming back. I don't know.
He came back last game. He was back on Thursday or on Friday.
So, like, can they run the ball like they've had that guy in the past? And then the defense. It's at times this year been that dominant unit, right? But you didn't look it against the Bills. You gave up 27 to the Panthers.
Bryce Young, not Andy Dalton. Bryce Young.
I don't know. So they're an
interesting team
to say the least, because you just want to see, you just want them out of the way for this year, and we'll see what happens.
Chargers, Browns, Texans, Steelers, Broncos. That's their last 5 opponents.
I mean, there's really nothing easy about that, right? Like,
no, should beat the Browns.
I mean, at the Browns, you should beat Jameis, but you get the Chargers coming to town on Sunday Night Football. They're a 7-win team. You get the Texans coming to town. Then you go at Steelers, at Broncos to end it, 2 physical defenses. No, there's nothing simple about that end of year schedule for them, man. So, that's funny. We did say, have they beaten anybody that good this year? Well, you're going to get, you're looking at potentially 4 of 5 against playoff teams in your conference. So
yeah.
Could get interesting, man, as we end the year. But let's
Good news for
get
them.
into today's slate. I'm glad we kind of like look back at these games a little bit longer because, like you said, like I'm so ready as an Eagles fan to just get into the Ravens-Eagles matchup.
Yeah.
And the rest of the slate today, just we're gonna have fun with Sunday Night Football. The snow. Hopefully Purdy does play, so it's a better game. You have that. We're gonna get into a couple games here, but this slate. On paper, like eye test wise, I don't know why, man. It just feels awkward. Like the Chargers, Falcons. I just don't know why that doesn't appeal to me. 2 playoff teams as of right now. It just doesn't appeal to me. Cardinals, Vikings, potentially 2 playoff teams. Doesn't appeal to me. Then you have some stink. You have the Jets and Seahawks. You have the Colts and Patriots. You have Titans and Commanders. Jags and there's a lot of games that just don't appeal to me that I'm just waiting for this Eagles game to start. But there is one game at 1:00. And it's kind of got my eye more so on a betting perspective because the 4-win team are 3-point favorites at home in the AFC North. The Steelers go to Cincinnati as 3-point dogs today. Now, I know we just watched them lose to Jameis Winston. So why can't they lose to Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase? They can. But we have had some conversations about the Bengals today and in previous weeks, man, after seeing what the Eagles did to them and seeing just how they can't pull through.
Yeah.
They're not the same team. This defense, not the same as it used to be in the past, right? They lack a running game when they let Joe Mixon move on. I am all over the Steelers right now, and I don't know why it feels wrong. Like, it feels like I'm walking straight into a trap, but I don't care almost because I'm laying the Steelers and I might lay their money line.
I think it's just because it's Joe Burrow, right? Like in the way he's playing this year, he's given the Bengals a chance to win almost every game that they've been in this year. But like you said, they've just come out on the bottom most of the time this season. Luck hasn't fallen their way. I think the other side of it as well is obviously the Steelers coming off that disappointing loss to the Cleveland Browns. They need to get back on track if they want to win their division, stay ahead of Baltimore. They need to get a W today against, at the end of the day, a 4-win football team.
Correct. Because let me throw this to you, man. Last Thursday night, you and I were incredibly high on the Steelers.
Yeah.
And then Jameis happens. And it's like, what are you, right? Like, you just beat the Ravens the week before. That 4-win football team you're talking about, their 4 wins this year are against the Carolina Panthers, the New York Giants, the Cleveland Browns, and the Las Vegas Raiders. Those are the 4. They might be the 4 worst teams in football. Those are the only wins they have. They have lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens twice, the Chargers, and the Philadelphia Eagles. All playoff teams. My point, if you're the Steelers, you have to go win this game.
Yeah.
I know you played twice. I know the second one's at home. Like, I understand it's a division rival. Think about what I just said. The Eagles, the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Ravens twice. All teams that we think are legit are going to be in the playoffs. They have handled the Cincinnati Bengals. If you go into Cincinnati today and lose 2 straight to division rivals, what am I supposed to then make of the Russell Wilson-led Pittsburgh Steelers?
They're frauds.
Right.
Because I think that's the only hesitation that you go into this game with the Pittsburgh Steelers is Russell Wilson. And I'm not even saying that he's played bad. It's not like that. It's just, is he going to be able to not match Joe Burrow today, but match him at times or in moments, right? Like making a big throw in the game right after Joe Burrow takes the Bengals down the field for a clutch touchdown, right? Like, is Russell Wilson going to be able to lead this team in important moments of important
on the
games?
road?
And that's a big question mark for me. Might not be fair. Maybe it is, right? Like, I don't know if it's fair to question Russ like that with the way he has come in and performed. And right, you go on the road. It was on the road, right, in Cleveland. Am I tripping there?
Yeah.
Was in the dog pound. So snowing, like, I don't want to say you can throw the game out. Like, you can throw the game out if you win this game, right? Like, that's the key that we're talking about here. Because at the end of the day, it's a snowy game, cold weather.
Right.
You're going against a division rival.
Short
you're in their house. Short week. These are factors. They're excuses, of course, but they are factors that play into the game. Come out and win today. None of that stuff matters. You can kind of move on and go on to the next one. Keep your season flowing. But definitely the second biggest matchup today behind the Eagles and Ravens. Maybe.
Yeah.
I will say this. I do love the Cards and Vikings matchup. I think that one. I'll say it. I'm on the Cards today, man. I'm on the Cardinals today. I'm just taking the points. I'm not taking their money line, but just something weird about this game. It feels like the Cardinals match up really well with the Vikings. It feels like the Cardinals need it. Feels like the Vikings are due for a loss at some point, man. Like, they can't just have 2 losses this season.
The Vikings keep finding ways to win. The issue is this. Since coming off of their back-to-back losses where it was like, here comes Sam Darnold back down to earth, they're on a 4-game win streak. However, they have won 3 of the 4 by 1-possession games and the other one by 10 points. You have beaten I believe then Joe Flacco-led Indianapolis Colts, the Jacksonville Jaguars by kicking 4 field goals, the Tennessee Titans, and then the Chicago Bears, who just fired their head coach last week. Those are the 4 wins.
Yeah.
So what at 9-2 are the Minnesota Vikings? That's what I've been trying to figure out all year long. They started out the year incredibly impressive. You beat San Francisco 49ers, healthy, just minus Christian McCaffrey. You kicked the shit out of CJ Stroud and the Texans. You had a humongous lead in Lambeau over the Packers and held on and scored 31 points. You beat the Jets overseas. You only lost to the Lions by 2. They started the season very well. They're still winning, but they're not playing like good, inspiring football at this point.
Exactly.
I do love your point for Kyler Murray. James Conner just got extended. Marvin Harrison Jr. Can they go on the road and do enough against Brian Flores to win this game? Because look, man, as much as we're looking at this from a Viking standpoint, the Vikings are almost as good as a lock to get in the postseason. They're at 9 wins already. The Cardinals are the 6-win team, tied right along with everybody else in their own division, trying to get in that way, quite possibly. This is a huge game for you. Kyler Murray has been phenomenal and protecting the football this year. Can he go on the road against a 9-win team and do that today? I do agree, especially taking the points. If you get them at +3.5 or +4, I do like that a lot.
Yeah, the +4 feels golden. It feels like a game that will be within 3 points, honestly. And it feels like a game that could be a little ugly. I'll be honest about that as well. A couple turnovers from Sam Darnold, maybe. The run game gets going, right? Defensive showdown. So it'll be interesting. I do like this matchup for the Cards. Cards coming off a tough loss to this other interesting matchup, man. The Seahawks and the Jets today. Like, what the hell are the Jets right now? They're just
bring that up to you, brother.
Season busters or what?
They are 1.5 point favorites today, not dogs, favorites. The 3-8 team are favored over the 6-5 team. Again, we just talked about the Cardinals, 6-win team, NFC West. Seahawks, same exact spot, trying to fend people off and win that division and get into the playoffs that way. I have no idea. Like, there's no chance I'm touching this game because part of you goes, man, the Jets have shown us over and over and over again who they are this year. Stop trying to believe into the names on paper. They're not going to figure it out. The Seahawks are a pretty good team. They'll handle business. Yeah. However, Geno Smith, it's cold here in New Jersey today, dude. It's cold. Geno Smith flying across the country, playing a defense that has a lot of talent, 12 touchdowns, 12 interceptions on the year for Geno Smith. On the road, cold weather. Can he protect the football against some playmakers and win that game? I'm not fucking touching this one, dude.
The one thing Seattle does have going for them is their defense has kind of kicked it up a notch the last couple weeks. I will say that.
You know what's funny that you say that?
Go ahead.
Is the only thing that looks appetizing a little bit is the total because it's so drawn down.
Yeah, yeah, and it feels sneakily like it could be like a 40
Yeah,
over 40 type of game, like
like
a
I like
2020.
this game could be 23-20 or what,
Yeah,
like 24-17. I don't know.
because I feel like the Seahawks are due to put up some points, and Aaron Rodgers is playing, right? I saw like rumors and stuff.
I believe so. I mean,
He
listen,
has to be if they're
I
playing
would
for
hope
games.
he's playing. Well, yeah, they are 1.5 point favorites, so I would suggest he's playing. But I see him weekly still on the Pat McAfee show,
Yeah,
and questions about his future and if he's playing anymore, if he's going to be playing in New York, and I'm like, that's pretty weird that you're still in the middle of the season and you
talking
guys are
openly.
talking about where you might play next season. That's kind of weird. It seems like you might or definitely are. Check the fuck out. So, I don't know.
Is the weird thing with this week, man? Because I'm looking at these games, and I agree with what you said earlier about these matchups. I'm just looking across the slate. Is it because these teams don't have like an identity? Like I'm looking at the Chargers and Atlanta game, for example. It's like, what are these teams like calling card? What do they do really well? Like the Chargers, I guess, have a pretty sturdy defense. They do run the football well, I guess.
They
J.K.
found
Dobbins is
ways
injured,
to.
but
Yeah.
Atlanta, they're even worse. Like, what is their identity? Like, they don't hone in on Bijan every game. They let Kirk Cousins throw the ball 40 plus times sometimes. But it goes the same thing for the Seahawks and the Jets. It's like, what do you guys do well here to make me think like, oh, the Seahawks are winning this game? You know what I mean? Like,
No, there's nothing.
across the board, even the Texans and the Jags, man. Like, it's in Jacksonville. Texans are what, a 4.5 point, 4 point, 5 point favorite in this one. Feels like a smash spot for the Texans if they're not frauds. But I don't trust them at all, man. I don't know what they do well.
Scotty, they just lost to the Tennessee Titans last week. Lost.
Like straight up lost. Like needed a W and lost.
Outright. I believe at home. Could be mistaken. I'm pretty sure that game was at home. You know why I know this? Because I had the Texans in my teaser, -1. And they did not cover. So that was pretty
yeah, they lost in Houston. You are correct.
Let me ask you this. Because I still see the talent. I'm not going to act like, we just totally jumped the gun. And I understand a sophomore slump can be real. But so can a lack of tape and being new to the league. What is CJ Stroud? Because CJ Stroud, coming off of one of the more impressive rookie campaigns, making the playoffs, him and DeMeco Ryans, it was exciting. You see the flashes, right? CJ Stroud was probably in a lot of people's top 10 quarterback list. If not, maybe like top 7, somewhere in that range. Dude, I watched CJ Stroud play football, Scotty, and I just go,
He's boring. Yeah.
I don't know. And like, I know you're missing Stephon Diggs. He shouldn't be fucking boring. You're able to run the ball. You're able to run the ball. You have Nico Collins. You have Tank Dell. You have Dalton Schultz. You have different guys. Like, I don't know. 14 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. I've watched him throw at wide open receivers' shoelaces. I've watched him overthrow guys. I've watched him take killer sacks. We talked about it with Minnesota before. Minnesota went into – I don't know if it was in Houston or Minnesota. I forget. But they were in a dome nonetheless. They went somewhere and kicked CJ Stroud's teeth down his throat. He got bullied. And I've seen him get bullied a few too many times this year. I am not on the 7-5 Texans train.
Yeah, I feel you, man. And I think what also sticks in my head, you got the W against the Cowboys, right? Like, okay, double-digit victory against the Cowboys,
right.
Big deal.
Right.
Before that, 2 straight losses to the 3-7 Jets right now. Is that what the Jets are? And then you lost to
Jets are 3-8.
The Lions after that, right? You lost to the Lions after that, and obviously the Lions not a bad loss, but Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions in that game. You were up by double digits going into the second half.
By the way, the guy we're talking about right now. The guy we're talking about right now had a 1 quarterback rating in the second half of that
1.
Game. After Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions and you blew it, he had a 1 QBR in the second half of that game. And that is almost statistically impossible, except he found a way to do it. He found a way to play worse than Jared Goff in the second half.
How? How do you do that?
No idea.
How do you do that?
No
So, yeah,
idea.
I think we're talking about a team that you're waiting for them to hit their potential. And they're not, like, not only are they not hitting their potential, they're not even coming close. And it's really, to me, man, it's all on the offense. And in my eyes, I think it is all on the offense because you look at that team, what were they supposed to be doing this year?
Yep.
CJ Stroud in his second year, you add Stephon Diggs to this unit, you add Joe Mixon to this unit. This should be a top 5-ish offense, man. If we're just going off of CJ Stroud from last season, and then you add Joe Mixon to Tank Dell, you add Stephon Diggs to Tank Dell and Nico Collins. Yeah, they're a disappointing team to say the least. And I think to an even fairer point, the reason I brought that game up is because my boy Darius in the chat here, he was texting me on the side yesterday, and he has the Jags covering, I think, 7 points in this game.
Yeah.
And, you know, in my head, naturally, I'm thinking like, man, this just feels like it feels like it should be a smash spot for the Houston Texans to come out, get some frustration out against a bad Jacksonville team. But, like, at the same time, I do not trust them at all to do so. So, yeah, the Texans,
Correct.
man.
And to your point, their defense is giving up just about 22 points per game to opponents, which pretty damn good. Their offense is scoring under 24 points per game. That's why the margin of error is so small for this team. Passing wise, they're outgaining people by just 300. Their defense is only giving up 2,300 passing yards on the season, less than 7 yards per attempt. They're outrunning teams by a slight margin. Their defense has been very, very good. And their offense, which is supposed to have the money makers on it, are not showing up. And Hunter, I think honestly, man, as Eagles fans, I think this is why we pay attention to shit like this when we're like, because it's very easy to be like, well, why are we bringing Hurts in the conversation? Because it's what I remember as well.
Yeah,
it's heading into this year. People taking CJ Stroud over Jalen Hurts. It's heading into Thursday Night Football. Jaden Daniels is already better than Jalen Hurts ever will be. It's now Jared Goff is a better talented quarterback.
Next year it'll be Sam Darnold.
Jalen Hurts. Like, it's all this different
Brock
shit.
Purdy.
It's like, Brock Purdy last year, you would take him to build a team over Jalen Hurts. It just doesn't. It never ends. There's a new quarterback, a new name every single year. And that's why we pay attention to some of these guys and some of these names. And it's like, when they don't pan out, this is, now I'm going to bring it up. Now I'm going to bring it back.
Absolutely. I'm going to keep those receipts, man. That's exactly what it's about. Real quick.
Yes, sir.
Before we get out of here, I know we want to touch on that San Fran Buffalo game as well. Rams in New Orleans. You got the Rams winning this one? They should.
I was going to bring that up to you because I know you were talking about a lot of spreads being weird in a very off day. Again, man, I'm looking at who can take control of their own destiny and who's real and who's not today. I'm looking at the LA Rams. You're 5-6. You're still in the playoff picture.
Yeah.
Your division leaders are at 6. You have a game difference right now.
You could be tied with them by the end of the day.
Yes. You should go and win this fucking ball game against Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints, who are sitting at 4-7. The LA Rams should 1,000% go. Let me say this, man. Not that we ever doubted the Eagles were going to go into LA and beat the Rams, but there were questions with this offense, Matthew Stafford, right? Like this, just overall Rams offense. It's going to be a tough ball game. If we, as Eagles fans, thought this Rams team was good enough to compete with us, you better be good enough to go and cover 2 or 2.5 in fucking New Orleans.
Yeah. What worries me in this game, man, I agree with everything you said there. New Orleans on a 2-game win streak. It's against not good teams, right? Like it's against the Browns, 35-14. They did put up 35 points though, right? Yeah. Like the Falcons, they beat the Falcons 20-17 when the Falcons could have, really took a grasp of this division. So the Saints are just rolling over. Like, and that's what worries me for the Rams in this game as well is, can their defense stop that Saints offense? And the Saints are just some weird – there's a bunch of teams like this year, man. Weird, funky matchups, man, where just not 100% sure that the Rams are going to go on the road in New Orleans today and take care of business, man. But to your point, that division, NFC West, is tight and could look a lot different by the end of today. So
1,000%, dude. Let's talk about this potential snowball Sunday night football game we're looking at tonight.
Could be interesting.
Brock Purdy is questionable. Trent Williams out. They got a bunch of guys on the injury report there. We know about a lot of guys out for the season in San Francisco. The Buffalo Bills come in this game at 6.5-point favorites. Total sitting at 44.5. I hate betting unders. If there was an under to bet today, in that weather, in those conditions, I would have to assume this is the one.
I'm just checking to see how bad is the snow.
I'm pretty sure it's terrible, dude.
So it says around 2 feet.
2 feet, brother. Not 2 inches, 2 feet.
Yeah, that's 24 inches.
Yeah.
I'm just doing the math here. I'm a mathematician right now.
Fucking conversions over here. Yeah.
That makes for a very, very mucky football game. And I will say, man, it kind of feels like it gives the 49ers a better chance to win.
It does, right?
CMC, even though they're from the West Coast, it's like it shouldn't in cold weather, but they feel like it feels like they're built better for cold weather almost.
Right. Both teams are
49ers defense has been suspect.
They're probably not going to have much choice to run the ball, man. As long as you can grip up and tackle, there shouldn't be too many explosive plays, right? It's not. I highly doubt if the snow's still coming down tonight. I highly doubt someone's dropping back and looking for a 20-yard out route. I highly doubt you're seeing much of that tonight. So as long as James Cook and Josh Allen and CMC aren't breaking off 30 and 40-yard runs over and over again, the ball should be on the ground. The clock should keep moving. Long possessions, possibly. Dirty, slower game. The under seems like the play, but you never know with these fucking disastrous weather games, dude.
And it's just, the 49ers, how bad can they be? I guess it's something I'm wondering. You dropped 38 to the Packers, man. You gave 38 points to the Packers last week, dog. In a game where you need to start sagging some W's. CMC is back. You do need, I know the backup quarterback was in last week, so that's a little bit of an excuse there, but the 38 points, that's defense at the end of the day, right? Yeah. But no, I like it, man, because it's at 44.5 right now, at least from what I'm seeing here.
Yep.
So what? That would mean the
5 and take the under.
25-20s type score. I don't see it.
Yeah, right. Essentially, it would have to either be a tie at 20, 21-21, and then you need that field, whatever, or someone's got to score in the upper 20s for it to get there. And it's just I don't foresee that happening, but you never know. With
right, does Josh Allen just come out and air these motherfuckers out? Do you know what I mean? Does that as soon as you bet the under, that's what usually happens. That's why I don't go after unders, but it is intriguing. I will say that. I think I saw CMC at minus 125 for a touchdown, bro.
Hey, I mean,
super intriguing. I know we're talking about the under right now, but anytime you can get CMC under minus 150, I feel is a blessing. But we shall see, man. Who do you got winning? Who do you got winning this one?
I got the Bills winning this one. I mean, if the Bills want to be considered as real as we think they are, you're coming off that. I know. Are the Bills coming off the bye this past week?
I do. Yes. Yeah, they are.
So you beat the Chiefs. You're coming off a bye. Don't let that be your Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So
get past the Niners.
Take care of business. Get past the Niners. Bury the Niners a little bit deeper in that NFC playoff picture for me. That's what I would like to see tonight as well.
Yeah. I would love that.
Yeah.
Bills. Yeah, they got to finish strong, man. You got the Niners, Rams, Lions coming up, and then from there it's kind of smooth sailing to end the season. So
I agree.
Got to take care of business, especially if you want that 1 seed. I don't think you want to play KC in KC, man.
No, I don't think a lot of people do.
Might want to try and get that 1 seed.
With that said, man, we are going to get out of here. Terry, come hang out with us over on the pregame show on the other YouTube channel. Speaking of getting the business, Eagles, Ravens, preview, best bets, keys to victory, Saquon, Derrick Henry, Lamar, Jalen Hurts. The first time those two quarterbacks are going head to head is at 425 today in their career. So we're going to be breaking down this game in just a few moments, guys. If you are new to the Turf Talk channel, make sure to subscribe on the YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and we will be seeing you guys on the Philly YouTube channel. Peace out, everybody. See you in a couple minutes.
Peace, everybody.